What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. Don't mind me, I'm just eating my breakfast. This is a 2025 Lowe 1648 Aurora. The cat's all up in my business. This thing is brand new, and customers got pretty good plans for this thing. We put some pods on the back, doing a front deck extension, and doing a little bit of wiring, a little console. It's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna turn this camera around and show you guys what we got. Let's get right into it. All right, check it out, guys. 2025 1648 Lowe Aurora. It's got a pretty nice trailer this thing's sitting on. I haven't really seen one that has a carpet board for the center. It's like a bunk board. It's not a roller. First time I've seen that. But yeah, he did put the swing arm trailer tongue on here. Glad he did, because it wouldn't have fit in my garage without it. Now he put these steps on here. I don't know what brand they are, but they suck. They're a piece of shit. The whole bottom one is literally just a pan, and there's no gusset in here. So he said the first time he stepped on it, the whole thing just went straight down on him, and he pulled it back up, but he wants us to add a gusset in there. So if you're thinking about buying some of these steps, if they look like these, I would not buy them. Let's get into the rig. So what we're going to do for him, he's got a brand new Garmin Force trolling motor down there. Beefy trolling motor, 57-inch shaft, a little bit long for this rig, but that's what he's got. We're going to build a bracket up here on the front. What's up, Austin? Austin just got here. Bracket, trolling motor, right here on the front. We're going to bring this front deck back, probably about 2 ribs, and we're going to have 2 hatches, a port and starboard. He's got some Aquamo batteries, lithium batteries are going in here, a 12 volt and a 36 volt. 36 volt is going to be standalone just for the trolling motor. 12 volt is going into the rest of the grass and stuff we're putting in here. He's got a Garmin Striker and a Garmin EchoMaps S3 93 SV, I think. Then we're going to put the Striker here, 93 up front. We're building some type of a little control hub right here. It's going to be different. I've never done one of these before, and it's what he wants, so it's kind of be like a floating box over here. You see him in a lot of duck boats and shit, but I'm thinking we put like a cup holder and his switch panel, maybe fuse panel incorporated into it, and yeah, I mean the graph on top of that. So, and then back here, not doing a whole lot in this back area. He wants us to relocate these. He put them in the wrong spot, and well, that one's stuck up in the air. He didn't use anti-seize on it, and he put some type of rib nut or something in there, and then, well, you see what he's got. Regardless, we're going to move that for him. He does have 3 of these nice Millennium seats, though. These things are pretty cool. So check this out. These newer Lowe's, they're different. They used to be that inside of these back benches, they had like the styrofoam type foam. Well, not anymore. You see they got these little fill caps right here. That's what they put in after they spray the foam in there. And man, they sprayed some hella foam in this thing. Look at this. This thing is not flat at all. I mean, it bubbles up. She's swole. The center of this is like a good, at least ½ inch, 3/4 difference from these sides. It's bubbling up real bad. So in order for us to mount this, it's going to be a little tricky. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But he does have these pods from Beaver Tail Pods, and he wants to put these on the back. Normally, I don't really recommend that you put pods on a riveted hull, but since this one is brand new, I'm thinking we're going to be all right. We are going to have to remove this little puck back here for his transducer, and I don't know. We might have to remove some of these other bolts or grind some of this stuff down, but that is the first thing we're going to do. Let's go ahead and get these pods welded on here and wrapped up. He's got a 20 horsepower Mercury outboard on here. I'm probably going to just go ahead and take this thing off and put it on a stand and get it out of our way. All right, I'm going to put you guys on the hyperlapse. We'll circle back. Let's get back to work. we got these pods up on here tacked on, and you can only weld a little bit. The welder, it overheats, so this is just an air-cooled unit we got here at the house, but they look good. And while he's finished welding that up, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start framing for this front deck back. Now we're gonna come back about 2 ribs. That gives us about a 20-inch deck extension, and we're gonna do 2 big hatches in here, port and starboard. So put you guys back on the hyperlapse and start cutting some angle and try to get this thing framed out. Let's go back to work. All right, guys, so check it out. Austin came over earlier and he helped me out with this one. This thing is crazy light. I mean, this whole thing, a couple pounds, if that. And actually, I took measurements on this. So if you guys have a 1648 Lowe Aurora, well, I could probably make this frame and ship it to you. It's gonna have 2 hatches that drop in. Pretty easy. I mean, I don't know if all these Lowe Auroras are exactly the same, but with the measurements you could provide me, I think that it's probably gonna work. So I'm gonna keep this. You guys want that, let me know, and get you set up. But look, it's so easy, man. It's literally just 3 pieces of 1x3 tube, 2 pieces of 1.5 inch angle, and then we threw these little 1-inch square tubes in here. These are 10 inches long, and that just fills in the side right there, give you some extra support to catch the sheet for the sheeting on the side. Look, I'm gonna drop this in here, and this thing is super lightweight, and it's completely welded out solid, so it's super strong too. It's gonna fit in there just like that. Got some rivets we're gonna shoot up in here. I'll probably put like at least 8 in there, and I'll come back and put some little feet up underneath this. But that brings this whole front deck back past the 2nd rib, and that gives you a lot of storage. I mean, these hatches, I think it's 22 by 23, so good sized room inside of here for 2 big storage hatches. Now, one of these hatches is pretty much gonna be filled up with his batteries, but there's still a decent amount of storage for tackle in here too. So that turned out pretty cool. Definitely gonna try to start making those for all boats. It's just been a learning curve because not all boats are the same. All right, let's check this out now. You see how this works? Stupid simple. And then once you put the hatches in, they're gonna meet in the center, so you don't have to worry about any sheeting. They're gonna come all the way to the front edge of this and butt up here to this, so no sheeting anywhere, just 2 hatches. And then basically from 1.5 inch over here, right here, we're gonna have a triangular piece of 1/8 inch sheet that runs all the way up. 1 piece, port and starboard, and that's it. And then obviously we'll have a sheet on the face of it to blanket off, and I'll probably put like a divider in here of some sort, wherever his batteries end up. But we're gonna finish that up in a minute. Now, we did get this MIG welder out earlier, and we were trying to see if we could use that to save some time, but we couldn't get it running exactly the way we wanted to. This transom is really thin, and we just TIG welded it. So it looks pretty good though. Now Austin did, I just welded that one right there, but Austin did do that seam there. He did both of these seams on the top here, and both these seams on the side. And he did the same thing, both seams on that side. And it took us about maybe close to 3 hours just to get to this stage where we're at right here. Now, obviously the first hour is a lot of cleanup and, you know, getting everything tacked up and getting your angles right. And these are spot on. So the distance that this thing travels from this point right here to the farthest point back is right at 3/4 inch. It's kicked up. We did have to throw these pieces in here, obviously, because it doesn't fit this transom. Now, I don't know which transom these beaver tail pods are made for, because I have never installed them on a boat where I didn't have to do this. So I don't know. If anybody knows, tell me what boat you've put these beaver tail pods on and just slapped them up there and they were the correct angle, because I've done a lot of these installs and never once have I had a perfect fit like this. So regardless, these are pretty much going to be easy sailing from here. It's just a little bit more welding than I wanted to have to do tonight, but that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put you guys on the hyperlapse. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish up all the welding on these 2 pods, and then I'm gonna go and make that frame permanent and try to put some vertical downs and get that thing finished up. And that's majority of, you know, the hard work as far as figuring stuff out and stuff goes in this rig. After this, it's kind of be smooth sailing, fingers crossed. Anyways, I'm gonna put you guys back in the hyperlapse. Let's get back to work. Guys, so we got the pods done. I did go ahead and spray them with some self-etching primer, and when I was almost done with these, he texted me and said that he wanted to add these little angles on here. He saw these online on a well belt, and these are basically just like spray catchers. Any of the back spray that comes up from the outboard will just kind of do a U-turn here. I don't know if they really make a huge difference or not, but he wanted to put them in here, and he's got plenty of space in here between these pods for the outboard, so I just went and threw those in there. This is basically about 1 3/4 inches wide, and that still leaves him a ton of room in there, but pods are done. We finished that up. Now we got this front deck frame already built. I got these hatch frames tacked together today. Hopefully I'm gonna finish those up tomorrow at work, and I can bring those home with me for the weekend. But I'm gonna go ahead and install this whole framing in here permanently. It's just sitting in here right now. So I'm gonna rivet this in to this front deck with probably at least 8 rivets on either side, 4 here and 4 there. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna put some vertical supports in here. Try to get a measurement for the sheet panel and this little piece that I gotta put on the sides over here. That way I can bring this stuff home with me for this weekend. And I'm gonna put you guys back in the hyperlapse. I'm gonna get this done, and then we'll get on to something else. Let's get back to work. All right, so I got all of the front deck framing permanently installed. Pretty simple. Just ran the angle on the floor. I put a 1x3 1/8" tube in the center, and then it's the 1x1s on the side. I mean, this thing is super strong. No issues with that whatsoever. And then I went ahead and made both of these hatches. They're gonna go in here. These turned out good too. Got a drain tubes in the corners back there. These fit right on top of this and pretty much finish up this whole deck, except for this little sheet I'm gonna put on the side. I do got a sheet for the face of this. It's right there on the floor. I'm gonna try to get that cut and staged up. The only thing I forgot was to bring home some damn rivets, so I've only got a handful of rivets, which really sucks because both these hatches and this face, all this needs to be riveted down. So I might have to run to the shop, grab some rivets, but I'm not going to go do that right now. We're going to try to get this front sheet in here, at least cut these pieces for the side, maybe just put a couple rivets in it to hold everything the way it needs to be and come back and load them up later on. I do got a trolling motor bracket. I made this little piece right here for the trolling motor. We're going to see about welding that up on the front and figuring out how we're going to do that. And then I brought a sheet over there home of 080 that I'm going to use to build some type of little side box console right here for them. But got a decent amount of stuff to do still. I'm going to put you guys in the hyperlapse and we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. Got the front sheet on there, looks good. I did go ahead and I sanded that and I hit it with some self-etching primer just because I was going to put that in permanently and it was kind of scuffed up a little bit, so I wanted to make that look good. These hatches are not installed because I don't have any more rivets left, but you can see how it's going to work out. I'm going to put a divider in there, and then on this side over here he's got 2 batteries. He wants to put those batteries on this side right here, and then we're going to put the trolling motor on that side, so hopefully it'll kind of counteract the weight. At least that's what he thinks it's going to do, so I don't know. I think it's not a bad idea. You can see I got this trolling motor piece sitting up here. Now the way I'm going to do this, because it has like this little step deck up here, I'm going to come back, I'm going to cut this with the same slope from here, where this comes back, down, and then back again, right here into the face of this, so I can slide this all the way up to the front, and then weld it along that side. Then I'll come back on this piece right here where it hits onto the deck with an angle, and I'll shoot some rivets up into the side of it and then down into the deck. I do have a handful of these regular rivets left. These aren't the countersunk rivets that I would normally use for stuff like this, but I think I got enough to finish that up. So that's my game plan. I'll put you guys back on the hyperlapse. I'm gonna start cutting this piece out and trying to get it to fit up there, and then we'll get this thing welded up and then we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. Alright guys, we got this thing mounted up here. It looks really tough. This thing is heavy duty. I put an 1.5 inch angle on the side, welded it, and then riveted it into the bracket and into the face. Welded all the way along the bow and down the side. Now, when I originally first started welding this, I got to about right here and ran out of gas. I knew that the welder was running on fumes, and I had an extra tank that I brought home with me, and when I swapped them out, well, the new tank wasn't working. It's contaminated, and it basically means that the gas that's in there, when they filled it up, it did not seal correctly, or it had some type of other gas inside of there, and it just will not weld right. It welds like it doesn't have gas in it at all. The number one reason for why that happens is when the consumer's using this tank and then it runs out, they leave the top open and all of the gas comes completely out of it, and then that allows for the regular oxygen that's in the air or whatever to get inside of this tank. And a lot of times they just get these back and they're used to them having a little bit of gas left in them and they don't purge them. So if the gas tank is completely empty, you have to purge it to get all the old contaminated air out of there before you put new argon in there. Regardless, guys, this is the company we get them from. I like them, but the bottom line is they don't like to admit that their tanks come contaminated a lot. And it's pretty crappy because this is my 4th time this has happened to me this year. And when I told them that I've got a contaminated one, they're like, oh no, that doesn't happen. That's like a unicorn. We only see like 1 or 2 a year. Well, like, you're full of shit, bro, because this has happened to me 4 times. And it just cost me an hour yesterday because I had to run to the shop and get another tank. But regardless, that's what I did last night, and I got this thing welded out, and we laid some dimes up here. I did go ahead and pick up all of my rivets that I need to finish this thing up, and I got my handles and that too, which I needed also for these hatches. But yeah, man, it happens a lot. Contamination is something that, you know, they don't like to admit it, but 4 times in a year, well, I'm just one consumer, so it's got to be happening to other people. Anyway, check out up inside of here. Now we got 2 holes in here. These basically just run down up underneath this deck. And I wanted to leave them 2, so he's got extra, you know, holes for cables or whatever he wants to run in here for fish finders, transducers, power, whatever. And then we're gonna put a recessed foot pedal tray. Now you'll very easily be able to reach from here up into here or fish a wire into there, however we're gonna do that. But I'm gonna paint this right here real quick because I gotta put his Garmin force trolling motor on here, and gotta cut that hole out for that recessed foot pedal tray. Still got a decent amount of stuff to do, but I'm trying to get this project wrapped up as quick as possible. I'm gonna put you guys back in the hyperlapse and get some of this stuff done, and we'll circle back. Let's go back to work. All right, so we got our seat pedestal base installed, and we cut the hole for our recessed foot pedal tray. And one thing I want to show you all that's pretty cool, this Lowe boat actually had a rivet right here. And if you look up underneath the bottom, that rivet was in the center of a 3-inch hole, which is perfect for where this seat base would go. And in front of that was wide open with these supports where these rivets are right here on either side for a recessed foot pedal tray. Now I'll give it to Lowe. They are thinking, this is awesome. It was just a little bit too far forward for me. So I don't know if you guys can see this underneath the deck, but you'll see there's like a 1/8-inch thick aluminum plate. Should hopefully be able to see half of the original hole where they had originally laid it out. I moved it back, I don't know, maybe 2 inches. And that was basically just to give them a little bit more room up on the deck. And I wanted to give them, you know, some floor space between that base and where this comes down. That's about the ideal spacing right there. It's like 9 inches on center, anywhere in that 7 to 10 inches, but I felt like that's gonna work out good for him. And what that does up here is it gives him, you know, a little bit of room for us to mount this, and it's not all the way up against the front of this. So I wanted him to be sitting back and kind of take advantage of the deck space up here, because where it was at, well, he was gonna be kind of cramped up here, and that's a big mount, but he's putting that gigantic Garmin force trolling motor on there, so it needs to be heavy duty. Not only that, but I didn't want his seat that he has in here to stick out so far that this door on either side would catch on it. So I moved it up, so he should have about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches of clearance in here, but I still moved it back about 2 inches from where it originally was. But Lowe is thinking, and on the back side of this is a 4-sided pan, literally 1/8 inch thick. It's just sandwiched up against this. It looks like it's welded on the sides, or maybe it's just riveted. It's probably, I don't know, but I couldn't really see that. But it is attached up in there. I mean, it's permanent, and it's super strong. Exactly what you need to put a seat pedestal base in here and recessed foot pedal tray. They're thinking, they know people are doing this, and they set it up for that, and it's pretty badass. Now, that gets all of the metalwork on the front deck finished up. I did pull this hatch out just so it's easier for me to get up in there. That seat pedestal base is already tightened down. Now, I'm trying to work on this back area right here. He did stop by, and we talked about this a little bit. And originally I was thinking about bringing this console thing he wants on the side all the way up the top right here. And I mean, personally, since he's not going to do, you know, connect this front to back deck, I think it would be better up here because then the graph's sitting a little bit higher and everything, but he said that he wants to bring it down the same height as this. Now I was going to bring it up here to this height, and then I was going to run my wires because the way this boat is made, they shot way too much foam inside of here. This thing is swollen, and it has a sheet in the bottom of it. It's swollen so tight that it's actually pressed down against the floor in here. So obviously we're going to put a bilge pump in here, and then we're going to have a rear nav light right here. Now I was hoping that I'd be able to fish a wire up underneath this bench and then up through here. I did cut a little hole in here. I was trying to do that, but the foam is so tight in there, it's just not going to happen. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to run this wire, you know, for the bilge and for this rear nav light right along this top of this bench right here. And I guess I'm just going to cut a hole through the top of it once I sheet this off, and then just run his wires straight down in there. It's not exactly ideal on how I would like to do it, but we're kind of limited because of the way that they shove this foam inside of here. And I mean, my God, man, it's just bubbled up tremendously. Like, it is really crazy. Look, I'm going to put the square on here just so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard to see it in the videos, but look. Now you can understand what I'm talking about. If I set it flush there, I mean, that thing's sitting up 2.5 inches, like super bubbled. And the bottom of this is the same way. Now, this is something new for Lowe to use this spray foam like this. Maybe they don't know what they're doing and they put too much in here, but somebody messed this up. There's that big hump in there. It's not supposed to be like that, and it's going to make it harder on us. But regardless, what I'm going to do now, I got to make a bracket for the bilge pump, and I'm going to go ahead and install this, you know, little base right here for his rear anchor light. It's going to go right here. We'll run those wires up here. I'm going to run the bilge right out the side over here, and then those wires are going to come into here. We're going to come basically flush with this over about 8 inches, which is going to put us flush with where these ribs start and the floor is flat, and we're going to come up and over. And then on the top of that, I might throw him a couple cup holders in there. We're going to mount a graph up there. And then in the face of that, I'm going to put his switch panel. Now, his switch panel he has, pretty simple. It's a little 5-gang switch panel with a USB charger. And these are all ran together. He does not have a fuse block, so we're just going to run all of these together the way they're set up into one inline fuse. It's probably not the best way to do it, but it's what he wants to do. So I'm going to put you guys back on the hyperlapse. I'm going to get this little side piece made and try to get this finished up. And then all we got to do is hook up all the electronics in here, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap this project up very shortly. Let's get back to work. Alright guys, so we made a ton of progress in this build so far. Obviously we got the pods welded on. I welded a little piece on here for his transducer. I did send him a picture of the pods and this little side console that we made here, and I threw this sheet of turf on here just because I didn't feel like painting the top of this, and I knew that once he saw that turf in there, he was going to want to turf this boat. So guess what we're doing next? We're turfing this rig. So I threw 2 cup holders in here. He's got this little striker up here, switch panel down there in the face of it, and then up in this front, I put a divider wall in here, and this divider wall could be moved over because this is his temporary boat. Now he's got another well built on order that we're going to build. This is just going to get him over until it actually gets here. So whoever gets this boat next, they might not want to have this divider wall here, or they might want to put it in the middle. Who knows? But it's just in there with some rivets. They could take it out. But I sucked it over tight where it would hold both of these batteries in here because he's taking these batteries with him for the new build. Now he's got these chargers in here with him. I'm not too sure about these chargers. They are from Dakota Lithium, and Dakota Lithium makes some good stuff, but I don't know this is an onboard charger per se. But I mean, I'm just going to stick it in here. It does have a quick connect on it, so this might be something that he does not leave in the boat. It doesn't have any like clips or brackets for attaching it, and I mean, this is super lightweight. That's crazy how light this thing is for 36 volt. Same thing with this one, but this one is metal and it's a lot heavier, and I don't know, but we got them both hooked up, and I'm just gonna set them in here for now. Because like I said, he's taking all this stuff out, but it is set up now. The only other wiring I have to do is going to be for the trolling motor. I got to run that back up under the deck and back into this compartment. And that's what this battery right here is basically just for. And these are the Akmo batteries. I actually do have a discount code if you want to get some of these Akmo batteries. Obviously, Trick 10s, it's Trick 10s across the board. Completely spelled out as one word. That's about a 7% discount code, I think. But yeah, they're not bad batteries and they're pretty lightweight. It's gonna be perfect for what he's got. Now, I do have to put his graph up here and hook up the cables for that and stuff. That one is just gonna be getting hooked up for the transducer that's built into the Garmin. So that wiring is already pulled here. I will have to run power up there for that, but that's it. And I've got his nav lights installed up there. I ran the power back down here. Probably put a little piece of loom or something on this, but they're just right across the face. Some strip rail lights. That worked out good. Those are already hooked up. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these hatches in here permanently and get this all wrapped up, cleaned up out of here. And I'm going to go ahead and wire up this trolling motor and fish his cables up into this recessed foot pedal tray. Then we're going to start turfing this boat. And actually, I'm wrong. I got one other thing to do. I forgot about these stupid things. Now, he put these seat bases in here, and obviously, well, they stripped out on them. So I'm going to take this out, and we're going to move it back and over. You can see I got my little dot right here. That's where we want the center of this to be. It works out good with his seat sitting up here. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take a sheet of 1/8 inch and run like a big, like 18 by 12 inch rectangular piece up here, rivet that down around, and then put some through bolts through that before we put it in here. Hopefully make this thing strong. Now he's not going to be using like a pole seat on this. It's just going to be a chair sitting right into the actual bench. So I think it'll be all right. It's going to be a little weird turf job with these bigger, seat bases in here. But like I said, this boat is just temporary for him. It's going to hold him over until he gets his new one. And then this rig will be for sale. So if you guys are interested in it, well, it won't be long before it will be on the market. I'm going to put you guys back on the hyperlapse. I'm going to try to clean this whole thing up and finish up the rest of these little loose ends, and then we're going to get this thing turfed. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, so I got the boat cleaned up, ready for turf. It's about 8 o'clock Tuesday night, and we're fishing a trout tournament this weekend, so I'm trying to wrap this thing up and get this thing out of here. I got some other stuff coming up, but regardless, I did install both these hatches right here, and this whole front deck is done, and the back deck ready to roll. But Jesus Christ, look at the amount of stress that is on that plate I put in there. That's a sheet of 1/8 inch aluminum, and I'm telling you, I had to force that thing down dramatically. There's easily an inch difference from this corner to the center in that piece. Whoever put this foam in here, they put way too much in there, and it just bloated this whole back bench. I hate this. I really hate the fact that my name's on this, but the customer wanted this, and it is what it is, man. But whoever ends up getting this boat later on in the future, they're probably gonna want to come back and, you know, get me to redo this back bench. The way I told him originally to do it was to put 2 hatches in here. We can incorporate a seat pedestal into the hatch on either side. That will not only give you storage inside of here, and we can get rid of this bloated ass foam inside of here, but it will look a whole lot better and be a lot more functional. And we could put a center pedestal seat in here, and then we could put a hatch here and finish this thing off. I mean, we're so close. I mean, another couple grand to get a finished product is not crazy, considering that we're already well deep into this project, but it is what it is. I mean, this is ugly. I hate it. I don't like it, but it is what it is, guys. I'm gonna start turfing this rig. I got all the turf over there in this HydroTurf boxes, but the way I'm gonna do this one is gonna be a little bit different. Normally I would start on the floor and come in here with a square and square it off the floor and up and across the deck. But since this deck V's down, I mean, you can see it in the floor piece I put up in there in that vertical face piece. I had to cut this down at an angle, and it's about maybe 3/4 of an inch or an inch difference in the center than it is on the side over here. So I think what I'm going to do, the last time I did one of these boats, I started up here, right on this face piece across here where it starts to come up, and we'll start across here because this is a constant right here. This should be square, and if it's not, then we'll figure that out. We're going to fudge it and make it as square as we can, and we're going to start here. We're going to come back, and then we'll roll it down the face, and then I'll cut off the excess here. And honestly, I'll probably do the same thing back here. I might even leave the sheet long and just let it hang and stick it in. I don't know. But the last piece I'm going to put in here is going to be the floor. The floor is going to be a pain in the ass. I cut around all these ribs in here. This is like so many no-nos and red flags and, and builds that I just don't do this stuff. So you guys are in for a treat because you're about to see me do a lot of stuff that I don't normally do. But that's why we're going to start this. So we're going to figure out our distance from this longest piece from this side over, which is going to be determined by how wide the sheets are that are inside of there. Now, obviously, we're going to have a square edge on the front of this. We might have to cut a little square edge on the face of the sheet that we start with, and I'm hoping that it's going to at least get me to this point here. I'm pretty positive it will. It might even get me a little bit past that, but that's how we're going to do it. We're going to start with this sheet, and we're going to come up here, tuck it tight into this corner, over, and roll it all the way back down this face. I'll come back and trim cut it here, trim cut it along that side, and then we'll pick up with another small piece here to finish off this front deck. And then since we're using a flat turf, I'll probably go ahead and pick up with this back bench, wrap that over in these 2 corner pieces, and then the floor will be the last piece of the puzzle because it's going to be a pain in the ass. We got to wrap around all these ribs and stuff, but it is what it is, guys. This is not my normal cup of tea. It's a riveted hull, and it's got a lot of stuff in here that I normally don't do, especially like that bloated back bench. But all right, I'm gonna put you guys in the hyperlapse. We gotta get this thing done, man. We got a lot going on, and we gotta finish this project up ASAP. Do that work. All right, guys, so here it is, man. This thing is 99.9% done. Just hung the motor up here. We got the pods back here. I did throw some turf on top of these pods, just extra stuff he asked for, turf on the corners. That's how this whole project has went. It was just supposed to be a trolling motor bracket and wiring, and then it turned into a deck extension, and then it turned into more stuff, a graph, bridges, and just ridiculous amounts of stuff, but it's done for the most part. I got a couple little things I'm gonna finish up and tweak, and I'm hoping to get this boat out of here in the next couple of days, but I wanna get this thing finished up and wrap this video up so you guys can see it, because I haven't had a video in a while. This video was literally gonna be like a 20-minute video max, and here we are, over an hour, but it happens, guys, and let's run through this thing. Let's check it out. So the way I did this back bench area, now I just put the turf on the top here, and then I wrapped it down, and I wrapped it up underneath the floor just a little bit because there's a gap in there, obviously. So I wrapped it back underneath there a couple of inches, and it looks pretty good. Now this bench, crazy rolled. You can't see it very much. It looks a whole lot better with the turf on it. I mean, obviously you can see that, you know, these seat bases in here, they're sticking up because these are the big bases, but that's the cool thing about this Gator Turf Hydro Turf camo. It's like, it does hide a lot of the different levels and stuff if it's not exactly right. So if you're looking for a turf that's going to hide any imperfections and stuff that you have, you're worried about your metalwork not being 100%, Gator Turf, that's the way to go. The Gator camo is probably the best at hiding stuff, hiding seams, and it's probably the easiest for you guys to install. Now let's start up here in the front. We'll work our way back. So up here, we've got the nav lights. Up on the bow, the strip rail lights, and then I did make this big ass bracket for this Garmin trolling motor, and this thing is humongous. I have one of these Garmin trolling motors on my personal boat, and I have the 50-inch shaft, and I thought that just like the shaft was going to be longer on the 57, but no, man, this whole thing is way bigger. I mean, look at this thing. Look, it comes all the way back here. It is gigantic. It's a lot bigger. The whole thing itself is 7 inches bigger than the standard 50-inch shaft one, but it's way more trolling motor than he needs for this boat. It's a sweet ass trolling motor though, so it's gonna be badass. And like I said, this is coming out, and the graphs are coming out to go into his well built, which is currently supposed to be getting started on the build. I think it's the weekend after Thanksgiving, and then who knows. I don't know, well built, they build stuff at their own pace, so we might be another 6 months before we get it, but it might be 4 weeks, regardless. Let's see what we got here. So he asked me to do a graph bridge for him. He was going to buy some little like 3-inch tall graph bridge, and he said he wanted to make it 6 inches, so I just told him I'll just build you one instead of you wasting your money on something else. And if you don't want to use this in the well built, then, you know, we'll hook him up with something else, or I'll just take it back and sell it to somebody else, or he'll sell it with this boat. Foot pedal tray installed. Garmin Force foot pedal is in here. This thing is really cool. It's powered with the cable, so it's actually hardwired, but up inside of here, you can take that little compartment out. And the cool thing I like about Garmin is there's batteries inside of there. Now, are they like specialty batteries? They got, you know, special ones you got to buy? No, they're not. They're AA batteries. Garmin, thank you. Like simple, plain AA batteries. If you're fishing a tournament and you don't have this thing hardwired, or something happens and your power is lost from your hardwire, all you gotta do is get some AA batteries. You can find that at any gas station anywhere in the world. So big shout out to Garmin for that, because they think outside the box and they try to make things simple. Like their units are super easy to use. Everything's touchscreen. And that's the reason I like messing with Garmin stuff, because it's very user friendly. So if you're looking for a user friendly setup, go Garmin. It's definitely the way to go. But up on the front, he's got a 93 SV, and he does have this little shield. He installed this. This is from Sonar Shield Visor. I mean, it's kind of cool. It will definitely help out if it's sunny, and you know, you can get a little bit of coverage on your graph. But I've never seen it before, never used it, but I'm not familiar. It looks good. I did go ahead and throw a little piece of loom up here on these cables coming up into it, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. And we've got those ran through a hole right here with a grommet. It runs down up underneath it here. And I took all these wires up in the side, and I attached them with some zip ties that have attachment points with screws to screw them into the side. There's like 4 of those up inside of there. But this foot pedal tray on top of the turf It's removable, so it's very easy for him to get up in there and remove stuff, change stuff if he needs to. And then we got his seat pedestal base right here. And then right behind that, we go into the extended deck that we did. This turned out really cool. It's pretty simple the way it's set up. He's got a 36 volt and he's got a 12 volt, and his tenders are down inside of there. There's his breaker for the trolling motor itself. And he bought one of these kits from, what does this say on it? Connect Ease, and made it pretty simple to hook this stuff up. Now I'm probably gonna come back and put like a little piece of, like door trim across the top of that just to finish that off. I might even turf inside of the other side, because the other side is pretty much just wide open, but it looks really good. Do have his drain tubes installed up inside these hatches right here. Still got a humongous floor in here. Now he does have a cooler with like some pretty neat little attachment points that go on to the floor, and you can literally just take the cooler out, and those pieces stick up like, I think, 1/4 of an inch, and they're just little like L brackets, corner pieces for it. So I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do that. I'll probably throw that in before I give it back to him, but I ran all the wires up this side right here, put a loom on those into our little side apartment. Now originally I was thinking that I was going to make this, up here and have it like a floating console, and that was my whole game plan for it. He came over and told me that he wanted something like this. It's going to be mounted down here on the side, and he wanted it level with the actual back bench, so we just ran with it. And I think it looks pretty sick. Got his switches down there. Those are hooked up. He's got a bilge pump in here, and this little Striker 7 on the side right here. And the bilge pump's back here. Got a little bracket for it. This is a pretty cheap bilge pump, but it works. It gets the job done. I did install a port back here for his rear nav light. It's like an anchor pole, and then he's got the front nav lights already installed too. I put those on separate switches in case he just wants to have his anchor light ran and not have the nav lights on. I did install these little plastic pop-up cleats right here. He's got 2 of these. I mean, these are really cheap, but they're fine just for docking and stuff. And I mean, I think these things are like 12, 14 bucks for a pair of them. So they're not made for pulling or nothing like that, but for docking, I mean, they're more than enough. And then on the back, obviously we got the pods and the Mercury 20. I'm kind of excited to see what this thing does on the water, because this hull is tied with the Crestliner as the lightest 1648 John boat on the market. I think it comes in at like 280 pounds, somewhere around there, which is extremely light considering that it is a 16-foot boat. But all in all, I mean, I think the project turned out really sick. A lot of work, a lot of extras, a lot of stuff that I just really wasn't planning on putting into this build. It's kind of messed up my schedule with some of the other projects that I got coming up. But regardless, I'm going to do a little bit more tweaking to this in the next couple of days, and hopefully he'll come pick this up. And then we're going to get on to some new stuff, guys. All right, guys, so I know this video is super long. If you're still hanging out with me, I do appreciate you guys watching. It has been a crazy project, man. This thing was just supposed to be a little quick hit, and it turned into a whole lot more than that. It's the way a lot of them go, but unfortunately right now, this time of year, it is hard for me to do these builds that just keep getting longer and longer and longer, because we're running into the holidays. Now, we just had Halloween. We got Thanksgiving in a couple weeks. Today is actually Tuesday, November 11th, and 2 days ago, I was outside fishing a tournament, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt because it was almost 80 degrees. Well, this morning when I woke up and went to work, there was snow on the ground. Crazy. It's like 35 degrees this morning, and I'm not ready for winter, guys, but the holidays are coming quick, and around this time of year, I personally have stuff to do. So it's hard for me to devote a lot of time to doing these videos and doing these builds and stuff, because I have to start coaching basketball for both of my sons. My daughter's starting basketball. Obviously, the kids are in school. Lots of stuff going on with the holidays and family and all that good jazz. So I'm going to do my best to drop these videos to you guys as quickly as possible. But this little 1648, it did turn into a sweet little rig. If any of you guys are interested in this boat, leave a comment and reach out to me, because he's going to be selling this boat once his well built comes in. This is just like a temporary build that's going to hold him over, and I think he just kind of got carried away with it a little bit, because I didn't think he wanted to do this much to it, but I don't know. He has the money to do it, and well, I work for money, so I'm going to build him whatever he wants. But yes, this boat will be for sale in the near future. Now, I did say I fished a tournament 2 days ago, guys. I don't fish tournaments. I've only fished like literally 4 tournaments my entire life.
I fished one bass tournament with SB on the ROLS a couple years back, and then I sponsor the Elizabeth River Fishing Tournament for the trout, and that's the 3rd annual year. Right now, we just fished it, and I sponsor it every year. And I try to help out because my buddy Bucky Osborne puts that on, and he has a YouTube channel called Try Waves. Go check him out, guys. I will leave his link in the description of this video. But I sponsored a tournament. I gave away some products, a gift card and stuff, and it's cool. It was a good turnout. And the first 2 years that I fished a tournament, first year was mainly just like, hey, I'm out here, I'm gonna make an appearance. Not really gonna try to, catch a bunch of fish and stuff. Second year, I really tried to fish, and I kind of got in my own head, and I went running around, hitting a bunch of different spots, and I spent half the day just driving the boat looking for fish, and I didn't catch any substantial fish. So this year, I made a decision, and I said, I'm going to fish 3, maybe 4 spots. This is on my hometown river. Like, this is where I fish. It's my honey hole, so I do know some spots around there. I'm not an expert fisherman by any chance, but I fish this when I go fishing. It's where I fish, so I know where the fish are at. And I was like, I'm gonna fish these spots, and that's it. We got a whole day. We're gonna be out there from 6 in the morning till 2:30 at weigh-ins. So let's kind of fish these spots that we know where the fish are normally at. And if they're not there right away, well, let's wait it out, because the tide changes, fish patterns change, and stuff like that. And man, I tell you what, I got lucky. It was a good day. The first spot I went to, I caught a couple fish, and some guy rolled up on me while I was netting one, literally parked right in front of me where I was casting, just hopped up, put his spot lock on, started fishing with his kids. I didn't want to be that guy, and I was kind of like aggravated because we got money on the line. First place, $1,000, and I didn't want to, lose my cool. So I was like, I'm gonna go try somewhere else. I tried a spot that I'm not 100% familiar with, but I know that there's fish there. I've seen Bucky catch fish there before, and it paid off, guys, because somehow, out of the grace of God, we won this sucker. I ended up with a 3-fish limit. My big fish was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and that's a gator of a trout. And on top of that, my whole total weight was 14 pounds, 12 ounces. The guy that got second place, Rudy, he had 4 ounces less than me. And this dude is a hammer. He's like a local legend, a monster fisherman, especially when it comes to those trout. I saw him out there. He was scoping those trout. He's got like a freaking Nitro Z21 with a 250 Mercury on it, and I was out there fishing out of my little tracker tin can, and when I rolled up, I could just hear the people, oh, what are you doing fishing out of that little tin boat out here? Well, when I got back to the weigh-ins, nobody said nothing. Coolest thing that's ever happened to me fishing-wise, my biggest trout I ever caught before that was only 5 pounds, 5 ounces. So to hook up on that gator trout at 7 pounds, 7 ounces, I was stoked. I did not even realize that that fish was that big at the time. I thought it was like 5 pounds. I was trying not to let anybody around me see it, so I just kind of pulled it up, measured it, threw it in the live well, and then once we got back to weigh-ins and we weighed that fish, he said 7 pounds, 7 ounces. I was like, man, I got a chance. This might actually be my day, and sure enough, it was. I might do a video on that. I didn't really film any video footage when I was out there on the water, but I do have some pictures from other people that were out there. They had Shutter Speed VA out there, and they're a photography company. They took some pictures of us and videos of the weigh-ins and stuff. And I don't know. If you guys want to hear about it, then let me know. Leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll do a video on that because it was a pretty epic day. And the whole thing, the way it played out, was pretty cool. Definitely cool for me. Not something that happens to me very often or really ever. Never won a tournament, so I'm stoked about it. But did win $1,000 too. That helps out and pays for, some bills and stuff. But anyways, guys, this boat turned out sick. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Hit that like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this build. I'll see you guys on the next one. Let's get back to work.